the first one is that God's not looking for perfect people. He's looking for willing. Is so many times we feel inadequate or ill-equipped to be able to go live out a life that counts, live a life of impact because of our mistakes. And and we forget the power of the cross. Is the cross. The truth of the gospel is that Jesus took our place, is that he paid for all of our sin. And so when we've accepted Jesus, Jesus doesn't call us by our sin. He calls us by our name. We're covered with the blood, right? And God's not looking for people that, oh my gosh, you are, you have been better than the rest. They say, no, you're willing, right? It's not about, Jesus was the only perfect one. The rest of us, we're all flawed. We're all messed up. We've fallen over and over and over again. And you know what? I know I'm a traitor. You know what? I've known Jesus and I've still messed up. That makes me a traitor. You know what? But for some reason, Jesus still calls us co-laborers. Jesus will still use us. And so let me tell you that you're not too far gone or you're not too good. Right? And I want people to know that it's not about how good you are. It is about how perfect Jesus was on the cross. That's what makes the mission possible. And I believe Jesus is looking for willing people because when you look at the scripture, so many of those guys have been flawed, messed up, and they're still heroes of the faith because they were willing, even after messing up, to get back up and to live out the mission that God had for them. And and then we also need to be reminded that what God can do through us and in us is not about our skill set. It is about when we give what we have to him. And I'm reminded by, John 6, 5 through 14, the boy with, brought his lunchbox to the party, and the disciples and Jesus take his lunchbox and a couple loaves of fish and some bread. And that boy gives what he has to Jesus. And, a lot of people probably think, well, like that boy didn't have a lot to give. And that's right. He didn't have a lot to give. But where did the miracle come? Is when he put what he had in the miracle maker's hand. And so a lot of people would say, okay, well, what about if that boy had 100 loaves and 50, 100 loaves of bread and 50 fish? It would have been more, right? No. God can do whatever he wants with whatever he needs. Like, he can take whatever you give, but I think God's just looking for us to say, you know what, here you go. Because the miracle didn't come because the boy gave a lot. The miracle came because the boy gave and put it into the hands of the miracle maker, right? And I think that's also what we need to have in our lives, is saying, you know what, God, it doesn't feel like a lot. I don't have as much money as these people. I don't have the experience of these people. You know what? I'm not a scholar like these people, but I'm just going to give what I have to you. I just want to ask you to do something with it because I want to be willing to do whatever you want with my life, whether that's for 1 million people or for one person. I'm just willing to give it to you. Here's what you've let, because it's not even ours in the first place. We're just borrowing it. Our time, our talent, our resources, all of it. It's just borrowed for a little bit. And so while I'm borrowing it, I don't want to clutch onto it. I just want you to take it and do what you will with it. Whether that's feeding 5 or 5,000, you take it and you do what you will.